almost, because like, that's why I was like, why the fuck, why haven't I been able to get out and be that speaker that I am? Why haven't, what's the reason that, is it me holding myself back? I've been asking that question, and I've been talking to the Lord. And the thing is that, it's because I wasn't fully prepared to understand the gravity of the situation. And the gravity of the situation is I'm going to be dealing with people that are going to be on purpose trying to use my history to destroy me. And I've seen it because I see what they did to President Trump. I see what they do to people that are conduits of life. And I got way more dirt on my hands than President Trump does. So, you know what I'm saying?
Well, no, I don't, because what's in your heart is what's in your heart, and what's in mine is in mine, and the end of the day, what we're talking about it's about coming together. It's about gathering the troops. You know what I mean? And what I mean by troops, it's like you're saying, it's spiritual warfare here, man. And just like that, just like what I sent you earlier. I quoted scripture, and I was like, and it goes back to I think it was Matthew 16. Verse I think was it 24 or something like that. He says, give up, give up your sell all your riches and follow me. And how many people are actually willing to do that? How many people are actually willing to put down their jobs or this or that to learn how to live the correct and lawful way in a world that's been hijacked? And that's it. The world is the world as the people see it through social media, through mainstream media, TV, and even through movies now. People have just been hijacked, and they're being taught that this is the right way to go, or that is the right way to go. When all actuality is, we've already been given a set of rules, that we're to follow. And those rules are designed to help us lead a happy and productive life for ourselves. And what happens when you're leading a happy and productive life for yourself, you are the catalyst for other people to do the same thing. Instead of constantly hearing about negative things on TV and seeing nasty stuff on social media, what do you want to see change in the world? And what do you want to see? And how are you being a catalyst? How are you being somebody who's showing somebody else what's up? You know what I mean? And that's where, I'm drawing the line in the sand. It's like, okay, we know what we're supposed to do. We know what we're supposed to do. Now, are we out there doing it, or are we out there just being a critic? You know what I mean? Or we're being a talker, or are we out there being a doer?
Right.
For instance, my house down there, that thing's open and available. It's 45 minutes away, and it needs work. However, I know it needs work. However, am I down there doing it? Kind of. Yeah, I'm making calls, and I'm trying to gather the forces to see who's going to come down there, and that's our church. You know what I mean? You call it what you want. That's our station. That's our church. That's our this. That's our that. And the whole thing about it is like it's already paid for. It's done. I have the thing. Everybody's work. At least all the people that I've been calling on. Everybody has their own thing going on, and I'm like, hey, look, guys, I have this here. So when you guys are ready, I have the resources. Now I need the manpower. You know, like I don't, you know, like I don't, I'm not gonna do it alone. Not because I can't. It's because I'm proving a point. You know what I mean? I'm following what the spirit is telling me to do. You know what I mean? My spirit is telling me, hey, gather the troops up. Hey, you know, like this is you know, spirit's like, hey, God gave this to you. You know, like gather the troops up. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So I start gathering troops, but what's happening? You know, like who's showing up? You know, and that's basically it. You know, and that's kind of where I'm at. You know, like what am I trying to do with it? You know, like I've got ideas, but like at the end of the day, you know, it's like I already said, and the spirit's telling me to say, don't do it on your own. You go, you've already done the hard work. Let other people,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm there. You know, like I've done what I was supposed to do. Now who's gonna help me stand watch? You know what I mean? When I was in the military, you don't do things on your own. Even snipers, they have a team. You know, it's a sniper and a spotter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nothing is done alone in the military. You know what I mean? At a fire department, nothing's done alone at a fire department. You always go in to a burning building with a partner. You know, law enforcement, you have a station full of people. You know what I mean? You might have a guy on patrol, but he has a radio in case something goes down. You know, people are ready to have his back. Now,
to respond, right?
Now, you know, like I'm ready. You know, I've been doing things, and on top of that, you know, like if we're talking, you know, real, yeah, you know, I put it in an application. So what? You know, like, you know, I have an income, you know, that never goes away, and I'm happy for that, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, you know, like I put in an application, you know, like there's nothing wrong with making a little bit of loot right now because I'm trying to stay busy. But I know that loot, you know, in itself is not lawful. I mean, there's no lawful money according to House Joint Resolution 192. You know what I mean? So it's like, who am I going to teach this stuff to if nobody's showing up?
Right.
So that's why I got the bright idea to put this on Twitcher. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, and I wanted to share, but I lost my service. I wanted to share. That video had been circulating before, and I lost it. But I wanted to share this 83-year-old woman that was in court that she isn't claiming sovereign. She's claiming American national.
yeah,
And she's like, even being a sovereign. I mean, she was a lot of the shit that you were talking about. The fuck? I just got tripped out on something. Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna have to try to see if I can find that. She was in court, and basically they put her in court and left her there for like 13 days. They were taunting her and fucking with her. 83 years old, but she didn't sign the ticket. She's like, I'm not entering in contract with this court. I'm not, you know. She was just going on and on. She was blasting these fools left and right. And the thing is, like, she was talking about all this shit, and you could tell the judge at first and the people there, they're like, oh, here we go. Like, we got to listen to this bullshit. But she was like, nah, look, my fucking all caps, this, that, and the other, and everything that you're talking about, right? Because not too many people know that shit. And she was like, it wasn't like she was learning. She was teaching them. And at the end of that court session, they let her speak. They let her just fucking go on and on. And she was talking about God and creation and who she serves and all this shit. The same things that we always talk about. It was a great video of how she was fucking fighting back. And the judge, you could see that the energy in the room, and she said it at the end, she's like, oh, it got real quiet in here. Because those people they're like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, it opened up things that they couldn't even contemplate because they have no idea. yet they work. They work for these institutions, but they don't know what these institutions are doing. They don't understand that.
I mean, how many?
They don't understand what the tax is. They don't understand. They don't understand it. Like,
tax is a payment. You know what I mean?
Right.
A judge is a banker. If you look up the definition of judge, right. It's a banker. You know what I mean? And people don't know that a public defender, a prosecuting lawyer, and the judge, they all went to school together, so they already have you pieced up. When you go and hire a lawyer to represent you, they already have you pieced up. They've already split your commission check between the judge, the lawyer, and the prosecutor before you even enter the room. You know what I mean? So what you're doing is you're paying the court to enter their domain, and then if you don't know what you're doing in their domain, then you get pieced up, hemmed up, or whatever. But the truth and reality of it is that you, when you enter the courtroom, are the judge. The judge is an administrative clerk. The clerk is the assistant, and the prosecutor, the guy who wants to put you in jail, is a part of he's a corporate entity, and a corpse, dead person.
Corpse.
So it's like if you don't know that much, of course you're gonna get pieced up, hemmed up, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just about knowing. It's just about knowing. And like, I know the stuff. Why? Because I spent years studying this stuff. I didn't just come up with this stuff all willy-nilly. You know what I mean? How many people even opened up Black's Law Dictionary? You know what I mean? How many people read the Constitution like you're talking about? How many people actually do the work? Very few. Why? Because some old people back when they were trying to start this country said, and the person who said it was John D. Rockefeller. He says, "I'd rather have a country full of workers than anybody else." Why? So he can keep his cushy little job. You know what I mean?
Right.
And and then I say that, and I was like, well, is that me? Do I want to keep my cushy little job? I'm like, yeah, kind of. But what does that entail? What does a cushy little job entail? It means going to work for yourself every day. Nobody's going to take care of me the way better than I can take care of myself. You know what I mean? And everybody wants to lean on the government. And the government is there to show you how to work for yourself and how to take control and self-govern. But everybody's like, no, it's easier to work for the government. Well, why don't you try getting uncomfortable, huh? Why don't you try getting uncomfortable? You know what I mean? Well, and yeah, uncomfortable means is like you might have to fight for your freedom, and you might have to prove to people and to yourself that yeah, I'm willing to fight for my freedom. What does that mean? It means whatever I mean by it, and you know what I mean by it, because I spent my time, but at the end of the day, I'm still free and scot clear, and I won my cases. You know what I mean? So there, you know what I mean? You just like pretty much every single one of them Jesus followers, apostles, they all got hemmed up. You know what I mean? They all spent time.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, you posted that. Like, every single one of them was beheaded, cut in half, or crucified. And then one of them hung himself because he couldn't stand how he backstabbed old Jesus. And that's just the way it is.
Right.
So it's like, I'm here to teach. Who's gonna listen? And that's I keep on always coming back to the same thing. Like, I'm here. I'm here to teach. Who's gonna listen? I go and I travel to go see people that I used to know and stuff like that. And I don't know how much they're getting from me, but I know they definitely getting something from me. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and what is that something? Like what is working for yourself? Working for yourself is this world is yours just as much as it is mine. And when you see something wrong on the street, how many people are going to stop and say, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop that." You know what I mean?
Right.
And and uh,
Right.
and like how many just walking around and being who you are half the time you're deterring those negative entities, those negative energies, just by you being just walking around being a positive person. You know what I mean? And you
You
can't
know
be
what?
doing nothing if you're on a freeway. You know what I mean? Like you have to be in town, you have to be seen, you have to be heard. And that's what all these people are paying big dollars for, on mainstream media. But we can do the same thing here on Twitch. You know what I mean? And we
Right.
can repost the
Right.
same thing from Twitch on Facebook and Instagram if we have to, and anything else. You know what
No,
I
it's
mean?
got to go through all of them. Yeah, it's got to go. It's look the way I saw it, the way I saw, it's gonna come. I already like for my shit, right, on my side, on my side of the branch, because we all come from the tree, which is the creator, right? And so on my branch, because we're all the same fruit. Now on my branch, on what I'm doing, I created the the TV experience, alternative TV, and in that alternative TV station, it's going to be the alternative, which has always been the what should have been, what it should be, because the reason I chose alternative was because when I started learning alternative medicine, I realized that they call it alternative medicine, but it's the medicine that we used to use before pharmaceuticals. It was our original medicine, but they call it alternative now because pharmaceuticals don't want us to use what we already know how to do because it's not profitable for them. And so I said, okay, I'm going to connect those two, and I created alternative. That's the TV channel. If we're going to have a TV channel in this branch of ministry, it's going to be alternative TV. That's the name of that experience. There's going to be an entertainment side because we have to have some entertainment. But what kind of entertainment? I was telling Ivana the other day, I said, listen, I know that your mom loves to watch gory movies. I said, I don't want you watching those images anymore because your brain doesn't understand. I know that you can tell yourself that it's fake and it's not real, but your brain is being planted those images as if it's something normal, and it's not. It's not okay. We have to be really careful of what we're listening to and what we're watching. We stopped watching Jurassic Park. We don't watch that shit no more. For the first 2 seasons, it was fucking cool. It was dinosaurs. They're not fucking real, but whatever. It was fucking a cartoon. Then they came out in 3rd season, and all of a sudden these 2 little girls fell in love with each other, and they're in the middle of the fucking this fucking prehistoric location where dinosaurs are trying to kill them, but they have time to become lesbians and love on each other. It's like, the fuck? They're like 9, 10 years old. It's like, what the fuck? I said, nah. And Ivana knew it. She's like, no. We went to go watch that other fucking movie, Strange World. I should have known by the name of it. And Ivana said it. She's like, I already knew because I could see. She can already detect it. She can detect this shit now. She's only 11 because I've been teaching her. And I said, that's they're gonna try to convince you that this is right, and it's not.
A man,
and the thing is, like,
a man is made for a woman just as much as a woman is made for a man.
100%.
Okay? And there's nothing wrong with brotherly love and sisterly love. It's when they start going into immorality is where the issue comes in. You know what I mean? And I don't know what point makes somebody a lesbian or the other one, but the thing is that
confusion.
Yeah, the fusion, and that's the one, and it's called discipline. They teach discipline in martial arts. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just discipline, and what they're teaching kids is like, oh, it's okay, but it's not. It's not okay.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
no.
And do I hate them? No, I don't hate them, but I don't have to agree with them either. You know what I mean?
That's what me and my dad were talking about. He's like, look, I'm not teaching you to hate the French. I'm not teaching you to hate the Spanish. I'm just telling you what it is, what they did, and to protect yourself from that. I'm not telling you to go and gun them all down now. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about discipline, it goes back to the same thing. Just because I can smoke weed and I like weed, I'm not going to be a hypocrite ever about it. I love fucking smoking. I don't want to say love because that's
I know what you mean. God knows your heart, and you don't have to explain yourself on every little thing that you know, because you and God have your own relationship.
So the whole thing is that I enjoy that, but I know that I shouldn't be fucking smoking weed when I'm driving this fucking 80-pound fucking tractor. You know what I'm saying? Because what's going to happen is that it's not that I'm intoxicated like if I was drinking alcohol. I know that. But if something were to happen, that's exactly what they would point to, and they would use that as an excuse to fucking crucify me. So I have to discipline myself, even though I enjoy that, doesn't mean that I should do it while I'm driving a truck.
For instance, I agree with you.
Know what I'm saying?
For instance, I agree with you. Look, I just filled out an application for a GOV, California GOV position. You know what I mean? So what does that entail? I'm gonna be, it's a government position, and when I'm on duty or when I'm not, should I or should I not be doing it? So, I kind of knew, and I kind of know where, I wanted to head in the future, and it's coming to politics. You know what I mean? And why is it going to politics is because of the stuff that I'm seeing out there, the stuff that I'm seeing actually in my box. You know what I mean? And when I mean my box, I mean my TV, my space. You know what I mean? So,
right.
What I did is I got clean, and I can use that for anything that anybody tries to throw at me. I'm like, well, you used to. I was like, yeah, you're right. I used to. And I stopped for this particular reason. Why? Because I thought it would be, and I still think it's a good idea to not. Well, I'm trying to figure out what the next step is going to be. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean I never will in the future, and it doesn't mean I haven't in the past. But right now, it's not serving me, so I'm putting it aside.
Exactly, and you said it. It's not serving you. I didn't stop smoking weed because I stopped liking it. It doesn't fucking serve me. And it's not serving me right now. And so right now, I need to grind this shit out because I have something that I'm aspiring to do. And I'm not going to let some little bullshit like this get in my way. I don't need to drink a fucking beer every night. I don't need to smoke weed every night. And I'm not a fucking drug addict. If I was a drug addict, then it'd be like, okay, well, then I'm fucking, I'm addicted. No, I'm not addicted. It's discipline. I used to tell Jacob all the time. I said, nah, nigga, you want some bullshit. You over there trying to fucking play me, and you're playing yourself, and you fucking know it. And he gets so fucking mad. And then he would be like, nah, you're right. I'm like, I know I'm right, motherfucker. I'm no better than you. I'm the same, if not any different. I did a lot more shit than you did, and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to one stripe you, or two stripe you, or three stripe you, or say that I got more fucking game than you. I'm just telling you that game recognizes game, and you need to understand that You just like that shit more than anything else, and you like being a bum. And if you like being a bum, be a fucking bum, nigga. I ain't gonna fucking tell you not to. I just can't continue fucking with you because I'm not on that wavelength anymore. I'm on a different wavelength. Now, will I eventually have my own spot again? Will I eventually be somewhere chilling and fucking smoking my shit, doing whatever the fuck it is that I want to do? Fuck yeah. I hope, you know, if God grants me the opportunity to live through this, absolutely. But I might not. I might not even fucking care anymore. I might just be in such a spot that I don't want to go back to a lot of shit that I was doing before. I don't fucking know. I just know that right now, I'm disciplining myself in this area. And so I know that those people that have those desires simply are acting out of discipline versus disciplining themselves out of those desires that don't profit them. It doesn't profit them. And they know it doesn't profit because me fucking some dude in the ass doesn't give me any fucking value.
It gives you instant gratification.
I mean,
it gives you instant gratification, not you. You know,
no,
but I know what you mean.
But those, I mean, there's guys that like that shit. What I'm saying is that it's not. It doesn't serve any other purpose than my lustful desire, and I need to be better than that because I have a vision of what I want my kids to grow up around. I don't want my kid to have to worry about this shit that she does. She wants to decide that she wants to be with a man, but if she's going to be frowned upon now because some girl comes and hits her up, I know what it's like. My best friend growing up,
bro,
all his brothers are gay. I know what it's like. It's hard.
Dude, you know what's hard?
I know.
You know what's hard is when you're talking to a pretty cool chick and you're like, okay, this girl's all right. And you're like, hey, what's up? You know, like you're cute and I want to take you out, you know. And she's like, well, I have a girlfriend. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm like, that fucking sucks for you.
Yeah.
You know, that sucks for you. It really does. You know, and girls are like, well, I could take care.
And I know what you mean.
And then girls are like, well, I could take care of that on my own. I was like, yeah, but that's artificial. That's again. I was like that. Like I know. You might get some instant gratification, but I know, like at the end of it, you know, you don't. You know what I mean? You don't.
Yeah.
And that's horrible, because at the end of the day, you might sleep in your bed alone, but it's still cold. You're still cold at night. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's like that's why God made women for men and men for women. You know what I mean? Yes, yes, you know, two women can keep each other warm and have sisterly love, but it's when they start doing all the extra, it's like, what do you need that for? What do you need that for? If you need that, then you can service yourself. But then, you know, and it goes back to, well, if you can service yourself, you know, then what do I need that for? So it all it comes down to is just people and their discipline. You know, and then who am I to judge?
That's all
like,
it is.
who am I to judge? You know, like,
Right.
well, God made me a judge. God made me a judge. You know why God made me a judge? It's because he wouldn't have given me the ability to judge somebody if he didn't want me to judge somebody. You know what I mean? Like when I go outside, it's a show. God gave me a show. Like when I go outside and we'll shoot. I mean, if you live with somebody, even inside of your house is a show. You know what I mean? When you look at your box, your TV on the wall, you know, that's a show. You know, this is a show right here. You know, and that's what people need to understand. It's like, show me a better show. Like if that's the best you got, then turn it off. You know what I mean? It's like it's old and it's gross, and you know. And I used to say to each their own, but like now they're starting to infiltrate, you know, my own peace. And when that's happening, like that's when it becomes not okay anymore. because they want us to bend to all their shit. But as soon as we're like, oh, no, 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 and you know, that's when they start their uprise. You know, and I'm like, you know, like, facts are facts, and I don't like it, and that's a fact. You know what I mean? That's my truth. I have my truth. You know what I mean? And I'm the judge of what I see out there. What I see out there is boring. You know, like, that's why we're making our own show, and that's why
we're not progressing. We haven't been progressing as a nation for a while.
Why?
As a nation.
Why? It's because the man, we'll call it big government or whatever, but the man is it has taxed people with through inflation. Inflation's a tax, you know, on the working man's money, you know. But you know, the man has taxed people into slavery. You know, that's what happened, and people are like, you know, like, what's happening? Well, that's what happened, dude. So it's not hard to see. Well, how do you stop it? How do you put an end to it? It's like, well, easy. You know, instead of giving big banks all your money, I was like, why don't you be your own banker? You know what I mean? Instead of giving an insurance company all your money, why don't you be your own insurance company? And why don't you source out through your immediate connections and start your own insurance company? And what does that entail? Security. That's all it is. It's security. And what do you think a bank provides? Is security for your money. But check this out. Check this out. The FDIC, the people that are supposed to insure your money, for all the money that's out there, they're only insuring 4%. Okay? Now, a bank, do you think the bank really carries all the people's money that it has in there? Heck no, man. The bank is only, or used to only be required to hold 10% of your money. Now it's only required to hold 1% of your money. So when you think you need to go to the bank and get some money and stuff like that, you're like, bro, you're being set up and you're being lied to. And I figured it out. You know what I mean? I figured it out. And like, it's about cashing your checks and keeping your money. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna okay, so anybody who's having credit issues right now, what's going on? You call to get to dispute something, and you get somebody from India, you get somebody from China answering the fucking phone and telling you that they can't help you with your problem. Because who are these people? Who are these foreigners to tell me, an American, that I can or can't have something with my own credit? You know, it's my credit, the credit that's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. That's my credit. But some foreigners answering the phone saying that they can't help you. So it's like, what do I need them for anyway? You know, like, I can credit myself. You know, and I know how to do that. But the thing is that you go and try to spit some game on whoever you're trying, the banker or the furniture dealer, the car dealer, or anybody who wants to extend credit. You try to spit some game on them, and they're like, oh, that's not how it works. Well, how the fuck do you know? You know, like, oh, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. Well, you've been fucking people up for 30 years. You know what I mean? You know why? It's because they take the money from the people. Let's say we're talking Vista here, okay? So if I go and I finance something through a bank, that means I'm taking money from this city, okay, and I'm giving it to a big bank wherever the fuck they are, offshore. Who fucking knows? You know what I mean? But you know, like, you send a check off and they run and they flip some numbers or whatever, you know, or you make a payment online and they flip some numbers or whatever, and next thing you know, you have this little bit in your bank account instead of what you should be having because you sent somebody a check. But just as easy, you could pay through 2 or 3 payments a guy to put up a fucking fence around your house where you can go park your car, and then nobody, you know, and nobody's going to go get your car because you have secured your own property. It's as simple as that. You know, and they're like, well, what happens if you want to leave your property? Well, like, are you going alone? Yeah. Where are you going to? Work? Okay, so they go and they put you in a prison for 8 hours, or you go sign up to go get put in prison for 8 hours, or a cage for 8 hours, or whatever you want to call it, for 8 hours, leaving your property, you know, out there for someone to go get, you know, and it's like, then you wonder why, you know, like you wonder why, you know, because it's all set up to be like that. That's how they set you up. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, like I'm only spitting truth here, dude. I'm only spitting truth. You know, I can only tell you the truth here. It's like, what would happen? But what happens if you you go, you know, do things the right way or whatever, and you have backup, and you go with somebody, and you go to the grocery store or whatever, you know, you have somebody watching your ride while you're going around. You know what I mean? And that's how it works, dude. It's literally how it works. It's all about security. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can go, but dude, when you sign your name on a contract, okay, when you go buy a car, for instance, next time you go buy a car, when you sign your name on the contract and you get your contract back, that yellow copy, there's only one signature on there. There's nobody from the dealership signing. They'll sign a due bill, but there's nobody from the dealership signing the other end of that contract. Why? Because you're making a contract with yourself, not with the dealership. That piece of property was already yours. Okay? But when you go buy one from the dealership, what you do, and the first thing you do when you register it, you make it you giving up your rights to it. You're abandoning that car when you register it. But people don't know this. People don't know it. And it's like I can teach you these things. I can show you. And we could be out there doing things lawfully. But, you know, the man has you thinking that you got to be out there running around trying to make a buck when you don't got to. You know, like, people don't understand what money is. Money is not a dollar. You can burn a dollar, okay? You know, money is sweat off of your brow and back. You know what I mean? That's what money is. Money is people. And these banks have everybody all confused. These banks have everybody all fooled into thinking money is dollar bills. But at the end of the day, money is just a contract. It's like, hey man, can you do this for me? Because I don't know how to do it. You're like, yeah, sure. Well, do you got any money? No, but I know how to do this real good. Well, okay, cool. Let's make a deal. You know what I mean? And that's how. You know, like, it's an IOU. You're supposed to be able to walk into anywhere, write them an IOU, a promissory note, and they're supposed to be able to take it. And that's by law. But do you think anybody knows that? No. Why? Because they don't teach you these things in school. They teach you how to be a worker. They don't teach you how to be self-governing. They don't teach you how to, or what the true meaning of the first, second, and all the way up to the 14th Amendments are. You know what I mean? They don't teach you those things. They teach you the things that don't make no sense. And half of it is a sham anyway. Why? Because you read a science book from when I was going through school, and now they're coming up with proof that half the shit's a sham.
I think you just got cut off a little bit there.
Yeah, and they're coming up with proof that half the stuff that they taught us in school is a sham. So it's like,
right.
Like, how are we going to change that? It's like, well, first of all, it's like, stop funding, you know, And what I mean by funding, it's you, it's your vessel, your skin and blood. Stop putting your money or your attention or giving yourself to these people that are literally just taking from you. They don't give you any value. They just take from you. You know what I mean? That's all they do. That's all they do. And it's like I'm tired of it. I figured out what they're doing, and I said no. I'm not going to do it anymore. You know what I mean? It's a big manipulation game, and you know, as long as you know how to get around it, which I do now. You know, you don't have to play their game. You can start playing your own.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I got a house that's paid for. You know what I mean? I got a car that's paid for. I insure it myself. And I do it lawfully. And the thing that people don't understand, it's like, it costs them $500 in order to file a lawsuit. That's why these people aren't filing lawsuits against all these corporations, because they have them taxed out, so they only have enough to eat, and that's it. You know, and it's people sold themselves into slavery. I learned how to set myself free, and I know how to set other people free. And then who wants to learn? I will show you. I have proof. I can give you the law. I can be your counsel for your court in case anything ever happens. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you do that? How do you do that? Because I did it. You know what I mean? I've learned how to do it. I've learned the system. I'm a banker now. You know, it's like, I'm not like one of them though. I'm the banker for the people. That's what's up, homie. You know, like, I've never, like, up until a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, I never heard of the codices. Okay, and that's the they teach in the codices, and they have like a bunch of books. They teach you about the religion of the people that were from this region. They literally took the religion that was from this region and they took it out, and they brought their own in, and then they started mixing everything, and then everybody forgot. Not everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but like me, I wasn't taught the stuff that from my, and I figured out why. It's because I'll get to that in a minute. But when you get upset about something, you want to get to the bottom of it. You want to figure out the loophole. So it's made to kind of get you fired up in order to really learn the stuff that you should be learning. You know what I mean? And that's what happened to me. No, actually, that didn't happen to me. And that's happening. That the higher I get, the more that's happening. But the thing was that, like, my parents, who I believe now to know all the stuff that I'm learning, and maybe I've you know, surpassed them a little bit, but at the same time, you know, they know, like, other than what your parents have told you, what do you really know about your parents, and what do you know about their past? Who were they before you know who they are now? And do you know who they are after they leave the room? That's deep shit. That's real deep. Other than how much does your daughter know about you and your past and the dark side? No, you don't teach them. You don't teach your kids about your own dark side. No. You know what I mean? So that's right there is proof. You know what I mean? The proof is in the pudding. And we got a bunch of cupfuls over here. You know, and I'm just speaking truth. You know, so it's like you got to put things in perspective. You know, and what the perspective is like, I know other people are saying, well, and at the same time, I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like I could say, yeah, I know what these guys are showing everybody, But at the end of the day, they could be showing me just one clip, and then like it could all be revolved around you, or it could all be revolved around me, and they're showing you just X, Y, and Z when there's still a whole other alphabet that could be discovered. You know, and it's like they tell you can't do this and you can't do that, but who's really stopping you? Who's really stopping you from anything?
Nobody.
Nobody. So what's stopping you now?
I remember even when I got that guy from the city calling me, you know, he's like, I got people outside your house. If you start selling tacos from out your house, we're gonna come and get you. And I said to him, I said, all right, you want to play that fucking game with me? Check this shit out. I'm gonna have my homies sit out your motherfucking house, and when I see some shit that I don't like, I'm gonna have my homies deal with your ass. He's like, is that a fucking threat? I said, you're threatening me, bitch. He's like, I told him, I said, you're fucking Mexicano. I said, you're over here fucking trying to call me and tell me using your privileged authority that we are giving you. I don't fucking need you to tell me what to do or not to do. I'll sell whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want. And I don't want you calling me no more. So whatever the fuck you think you can do, guess what? I'm going to do the same. Don't fucking try to sit there and threaten me like I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. I have the right to feed my kids. I have the right to fucking take care of what I need to take care of. Now, if you feel that you want to do that, go ahead. I'm going to make sure I post up. Let's go ahead and let's see who wins that battle, motherfucker. And then, you know, that was it. But the thing is...
But where's your homies at, though?
You know,
Where's the homies at, though?
No, I'm just telling them this shit. You know what I'm saying? We're just having the fucking... We're not going to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we needed to do all of that, then, you know, it's a couple of fucking phone calls. But it's not like, you know, we want to fucking get into that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're doing. And the thing is, like, it goes back to the same thing. When we had the prohibition happening, what was happening? You had law enforcement trying to impose a law, and all these other guys, and law enforcement and citizens were fighting each other.
Because who's policing the police?
That's right, they had shootouts. It wasn't until somebody got paid off that was in a position of authority that all of a sudden these things changed. And so it's all a fucking idea. It's all somebody's idea. And so at the end of the day, that's where we need to be able to, like they infiltrate, we need to be able to do the same thing throughout all parts. It's like,
but you need manpower.
Like Fight Club.
But you need manpower.
Well, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like Fight Club. But
I've been calling on my folks. This is okay. So like you were telling about your homeboy, and you know, that's the reason I asked about. I was like, well, where's your homeboys at? You know, like I was like, do you really have homeboys? Like, you know, one person. I know that you know one person that would actually show up for you, and that's me. However, when I've been asking for my homies, like where are my homies at? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's what I'm saying, bro. You know, it's like the banks have everybody fooled, thinking that you need to be out there doing what you're doing, and you know, like I support you and I support in your ideas and stuff like that. But I'm not afraid to tell you, bro, like, hey, you're doing some stuff wrong, and I can help you. You know, it's going to be scary. But you know what? Like, at the end of the day, you know who I follow. So is it really that scary? Or are we just on some different pages? You know, it's like, that's the thing is there's a spirit of fear out there of people not having enough, but it's like, you know, the birds don't have a job, but they get fed every day, and they still tweet. You know, I still hear their songs, but they don't have no damn job. What makes you think that you need to be out there breaking your back away from your kids for I don't know. You know, it's like it confuses me for one. You know, and I can't sit there and say like I understand, because I don't. I don't understand that way of living anymore. You know, I'm an artist. You know what I mean? You know, like I'm a veteran. You know, like I'm you know, a businessman, sure, but not like them. You know, like I've I'm a secure party creditor. You know, I'm a foreign national. I'm a sovereign human live being. You know, that's who I am. And what I've figured out is like once you claim that status, and once you are who you say you are, the rest of the world, they don't want to play with you anymore. You know, some people will, GOV will, you know what I mean? But but like other people won't until they're woken up. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm kind of, you know, I'm not, I'm just, I'm waiting. You know, I'm just waiting. I'm being patient. You know, God said, marshal the troops. I said, okay, you know, I'm gonna do it. So I've been screaming out from the top of my lungs from any rooftop that'll take me or I can find myself on. But at the end of the day, it's up to the people whether they're gonna jump on board and be a part of the movement or not. And if I got to do it and for a lifetime, then that's my calling. You know what I mean? But that's all I can do is say, hey, you know, let's do it. You know, and I'm down.
Right.
That's all I can say is let's do it, and I'm down. And prove to people that I am actually doing the things that I say that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I have the things that I have. And everybody's like, well, how'd you get that? I was like, I can show you. You know, my door's wide open. You know how many people walk through my door? 2, mom and pops. Other than that, one guy that I let in, but he was there to buy. You know what I mean? And did he? No, because I figured out that he don't have no money either. So it's like they're trying to get mines. That's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm still here, and I'm still patiently waiting. And that's all I can do right now. That's all I can do. What do you got to say about that?
It's interesting.
Because it makes you think. What are you thinking about? What's so interesting about it? It's like this is the conversation that where it gets comfortable, is because you're like, okay, you know, like, what? Now's the time to speak. Speak.
No, yeah, absolutely. And well, the thing is, like, when I go back to the biblical references, like the first things that pop out of my mind, I know what you're saying, because I had a conversation about, because my mom was talking to me about, like, because, you know, she's looking at me, and, you know, we're getting older, and I understand. I know what she's thinking because of where she's at in her mindset. She's talking to me about, you know, I'm still young, and I should be looking at, you know, hooking up with some other chick and all these other things, and I know what the Lord is telling me about that situation right now. But when she's tickling my ear, because of course, I mean, I enjoy having a woman. I enjoy women. I love women, right? I enjoy what God created for us, right? And when I say for us, it's mutual. Women and men both as we should enjoy our company. And so, you know, I got to thinking, I'm like, well, I've never had a problem with finding a chick.
It's one.
But
It's
every
worthy.
time that I found a chick, listen, this is what I'm saying. It's never been an issue. Those are the conclusions that I came up with quickly. Like, before, it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get some ass, you know, this, that, and the other. And it's like, nah, that's not what I want. So that's why it's not as easy as it was, because we're dealing with a different mindset of girls that are growing up. And it's like my answer came quickly. It was like, because you're looking for that woman that's going to complement what we're doing. It's going to be that Proverbs woman, right? The woman that knows how to go out and get hers, even though she knows that she's a rib. She has to understand her position in life. Not that I gave her that position. That's the position that she has. What is a woman, right? And so it's like, I look at my mom, and she's always caring and worrying about her kids, right? And so I see what my ex is doing with her kids. I saw it what she's doing with the other kids, and what that teaching was. So do I want to continue with? Do you know how far I've gone with this idea? I've gone with this idea to the point where it's like, now in my interview, check this shit out. Now in my interview, I want to know if people in their family have had issues with MS, have had issues with cancer. I was talking to Jacob's sister, and she's cool, right? But she was like, she said something that really like resonated. She's like, knows that she should have been checking herself because the women in her family all get breast cancer. And I said, really? And she's like, oh yeah, we're all susceptible. I said, I was like, I didn't know that, Traditionally, because we pass on the beans, but we're passing on the same information. If I eat lard in my beans and I teach my kids how to eat, to put lard in theirs, they're gonna pass that recipe on. So I understand that generational curse, or whatever they want to call it,
chinitos,
and passing on that information, right? And so maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's not, but we know what it does now. And so there are some things that I look at like, do I really want to have a susceptibility in the DNA that's coming out of me next, right? So what am I going to do? Am I just going to, what's it called? Settle? No. And so it's like, okay, so the point that I'm trying to get to is that now I'm being selective. Just like the Lord selects all of us, God selected all of us from the beginning. And we've all chosen the path, and we've all been able to have the opportunity to choose. And so it's like, I don't want that life anymore. I don't want to go through another situation like that. But at the same time, what do I need to do? And the answer, like I said, came quickly. It's like, well, no, because I'm not going to put myself in that situation. I don't need to put myself in that situation. Number one, I'm not in a position in my life where I say I need to have a female. I don't need to have a female. I don't need to sit there and fucking jack off every night like when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I don't need to do none of that shit no more. I don't need to. I didn't need to then. I just needed to discipline my life. Not that I don't enjoy fucking having some females. Not that I don't enjoy busting a fucking. I don't know if you have me on. I want to make sure that.
Well, I mean, no. What's gonna make this whatever we're doing awesome is being able to speak from the heart how you speak. So there is on this channel there is no filters. Why? Because we need it that way.
So I don't mind. I don't. Of course, I love to bust it. Who the fuck doesn't? Men and women. We know that. Now, before it was like hush hush, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be vulgar about it. And that's the whole thing with that. I don't need to be immoral about it because I've grown. Now I know what I want, and I'm in a position like you're talking about right now, where the next woman that I'm blessed with is going to come to me. See, you were talking about like you're sitting there and you're waiting, right? Because what you chase, it eludes you because you're chasing it. I don't need to chase anything anymore. I know that I didn't need to chase in the first place. That's the whole carrot in front of your face. The donkey, the jackass that's following the carrot, he can never catch because the fucking carrot's right there, but he doesn't realize that all he's got to do is shake that shit off his back and it's going to fall on the ground and it's right, he can get it. And so there's a lot of things, right? We know there's a lot of things that's manipulating. And so when I'm listening to what you're saying as far as like you're patiently waiting, I understand that because I know that in my life it's the same thing. I'm patiently waiting. Now, at the same time, I'm in a position right now where once I get out, and we call it the rat race, right? Once I get out of the rat race, right, which is that symbol, it's a symbolism. It's all symbolism, right? It's just ways of how we have found, just like the hieroglyphics of the past.
Let me ask you a question.
This is how we have.
This is going to blow your mind right now. This is going to blow your mind. Who put you in the game called the rat race?
I put myself in that game.
Period. That's all I wanted to hear. Now, continue on with the conversation you were having before that. Don't mention that part again and for another like 5 minutes, okay? Keep going.
So what I'm trying to get to is that I am here to demonstrate that it doesn't matter what mindset that you come from, that if you put yourself through the process and if you follow the process, we're not reinventing the wheel here. All we're showing is that there is no excuse. There is no excuse because if I can put myself through the process and get myself out of the process, anybody can. And there is no excuse to stay in that mindset because you can create the process. You can follow the process that has been created already, whatever process that you choose to follow. So that way you can put yourself out of that process, which I know it doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. It's a whole wise man crack, but I'm not going to get into that part of it. It goes back to demonstration. I am going to demonstrate with my discipline that as free as I am, you can be free too. And you can find that freedom through any process, how it was created to keep you in.
Now, okay, so
based off of whatever it is.
Is it the money that's making you free?
No, I'm already free. I'm free. I'm a free man. Money is just what we believe in this system. This system that was created before my time, this system that was put in place before I was born, has everything to do with the process that I'm talking about. So if this system was put in place to keep people thinking that they're slaves, I'm showing you, I'm going to demonstrate that it's not. It's just a mindset. See, if I sit around, and I was looking at some people the other day, I'm over here busting my ass, sweating my ass off inside this trailer, laboring and getting rid of boxes that is later going to serve the community that is going to that specific store to go buy the items that they need because that's the system that's been created for them. I need ketchup. Okay, well, now I don't need to worry about making growing the tomatoes and all this other shit. I just go to a store and it's in a bottle for me. All I gotta do is exchange this idea for that thing that I can do by myself. But because I don't want to do that no more, I have chosen to use this commodity for that commodity, right? This is what we have. So instead of fighting it, I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to fight with anybody about we need to change the dollar bill because the dollar bill is already we already don't realize this, but the dollar bill is already obsolete. It's been obsolete. We're already doing. We have been infiltrated by the digital age since Y2K.
So are you telling me that cryptocurrency is a fiat currency of a fiat currency?
I don't understand what fiat means.
Made up fiction.
Oh yeah. See, that's the thing that I try telling people too. Just because I don't command a language that was given to me doesn't mean that I don't have wisdom or knowledge. See, people will try to use that too. That's what I'm trying to say, is that these processes were put in place. People will try to clown me, make fun of me because I don't bow down to speaking a king's version of a language that was forced upon my people. And so I speak a language I speak this language only because it was forced upon my people. And so I don't spend the time wasting the time to speak it eloquently for your benefit. It's not beneficial to me to waste time on it. Yeah. So the people of this country, right?
What
the
people don't understand. What people don't understand, it's like sometimes they be treating someone a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, it's like they don't know who they're talking to. You know, they could be talking to someone that could literally, you know, take anything they want from anybody, but what they're doing is they're being nice by letting you roam free. You know what I mean? They're letting people every day let me be, let me live. You know what I mean? It's the Most High. You know what I mean?
We have dumbed down society so much. The ignorance is so real that I'll have somebody, just because they're white, listen, and I'm not speaking against white people, okay, because I have really good friends that I love dearly that are awesome people in the Gabacho community. It's just the ignorance that was passed on to them. And I had this gentleman that happened to be from a southern state approach me and asked me for my papers. And I looked at him and I said, "What the fuck?" Now I could have acted out of discipline and I could have just whooped on this man's ass. But because I understand, listen, that's the thing with understanding and having knowledge. I understand that this man is simply ignorant. Now, the law tells us that it's not an excuse and they'll arrest you for going too fast or drinking and driving, or that ignorance is not an excuse for breaking the law. But see, we understand what the Bible says, and grace be upon us all. So just like God has graced me, I looked at this gentleman and I said, "What the fuck?" I said, "Hey, where the fuck are your papers, you European colonizer?" I just spit it back just the same way he was coming at me. He had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. I said, "You fucking European colonizer?" I didn't call him white trash. I didn't call him anything else. I said, "You're a fucking European colonizer," because that's the truth.
You know what? Though? The European colonizer, he got some backup. He has backup.
Watch. So check this out, though. Instead of gunning each other down, it's education. I wanted to see where the fuck he was, because it's obvious that he's ignorant. So why the fuck am I going to bring this man down? He's only speaking out of his ignorance and demonstrating how ignorant he is. And I said those things to him, and he just looked at me puzzled. And I said, "Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about?" I said, "You know you're the original wetback, right? Where are your papers?" He's like, I was born here. And I said, exactly, bro. You were born here. It makes you a native of this country. But guess what? We've been here. And he looked at me. I said, if we crossed a river, it's because somebody put a boundary on that river telling us that that river anymore, like the elk have to go around thousands of miles of wire because somebody put a fence claiming that land. When the elk say fuck you and they cross those, because I go state to state and I see these things, and the elk they've always crossed in the same spot, and these elk that cross in the same spot still today cross in the same spot. It doesn't matter how high the fence they put it. And I told him that because I had to use that analogy with him because he's from the South and he understands hunting and he understands deer. He understands that language. And he looked at me and he said it like this. He's like, you know, you Mexicans, I tell my friends all the time, you Mexicans, yeah, you've been around here for a long time. I said, no, motherfucker, it's not that we've been around here for a long time. We've been here, fool.
Like, this is our home.
Where are your papers? I said, where are your fucking papers? Show me your papers. And he looked at me, and I said, listen, I could resort to whipping your ass, because I can. But I said, listen, you can't demonstrate me your papers, so I ain't going to show you my fucking papers either. But I'm telling you right now, enjoy the grace of being on my lands. Your ancestors have been able to reap everything, including myself. So how about you park your truck, and I'm going to park my truck, and we both take the high ground and get off of this dumb shit that you're on. Because I don't fucking feel like dealing with this shit. He gets off his truck later and comes and apologizes to me. I said, no, motherfucker, don't apologize to me. You don't need to apologize to me. You're a man. You just were given the wrong information. And so now, like I'm going to tell you, brother, because you are a brother, you're my brother, let's get off the dumb stuff. Stop walking around and walking up to people, asking them what Fox News, CNN, and all these other propaganda news stations are putting in your head about who we are in this country. I'm not here illegally, no more than you're here illegally. So let's get off of that shit. Now, is that going to provoke thought like you're talking about?
I can't. I'm on my computer.
Is that going to provoke thought like you're talking about? It's the same thing that you're saying right now, and it's the same thing. There is no excuse. We have to take the high ground. Les Brown was talking about this the other day. He's like, you know, he had to go through it like we did. You know, he couldn't go. He tells a story of how his mom whipped his ass, and he didn't understand why he was like 5 or 6 years old. His mom whipped his ass because he was drinking out of a water fountain. He didn't know that because he's black, he's not allowed to drink out of those people's ideology. And he says that he didn't understand why his mom was whipping his ass because he was thirsty. He was just a little kid. And his mom was whipping his ass so bad because there was a police officer, because they used to have police officers, the same law enforcement, the same people watching to make sure that those people weren't doing those unlawful things because it
what does it go back to though? What does it go back to? Where's your backup? Where's your backup?
So watch. So what I'm saying is that he was saying this, right? He was saying this because his mom, the reason that his mom did it was because she didn't want that officer to whip his ass because the law was allowed to do that. Didn't matter if they were an underage kid. And so here we have all of these laws today that are put in place to keep everybody in check. The same laws. So there is no difference. Now, just like I was saying earlier about this dude that.
So what? So there's stories about everything. Everybody's heard all the stories. What do you do about it?
Right.
What do you do about it?
So again, goes back to what I'm doing that you can do, or what you're doing. You're doing it. You were put on earth to do exactly what you're doing the way you're doing it. You're a branch of God's creation. And you're doing it in demonstration. You've said it over and over again. You're demonstrating and you're teaching people that if they come to you, this is what they're going to learn. And it's the same thing. I'm doing the same thing under the things that I'm doing, the way I'm doing it with what God has given me. I'm demonstrating that you don't have to be stuck. It's only in your mind that you're stuck. I am submitting myself to this company for what reason?
Because you want to get compensated for your time.
Well, I want to get compensated. But see, I can find a way to get paid the same amount of money and not do as much as I'm doing. I'm taking care of this company as if it was my own. Why? Because you will reap what you sow. And what I am sowing is what I expect to reap when I come back out of this system and I provide the same opportunities to other people who don't want to, because they have that choice. See, I'm not going to go on IG and Facebook and all these other places and come on and have this advertisement and tell you that you can sit at home and be a lazy fuck and not do shit and make millions of dollars. If that's what you want to do, there's plenty of people that are going to teach you how to do that. That's not how we have the buildings and the shit that we have around us today. The shit that we have around us today was off the backs of people that had to go out there and bust their ass. So we can, as the kingdom of God, be able to move in without having to do all of that. But we must respect that process.
Yeah, you're on something I don't understand. So like, I can't agree with you. I cannot agree with you.
Yeah, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me, because at the end of the day, there are those people that are going to fall in line on this idea. Those people that need this information.
Because that's how slaves are made. You know what I mean? It's like, hey,
no.
That's how slaves are made. That's it. That's it.
That's not what we're doing. That's
yes,
not what we're doing.
That's exactly what it is, bro.
So Paul said it like this: if I am to be a slave, let me be a slave under God's grace. The Lord Jesus Christ said, if I can give this cup away, Lord, Father, if I can I give my cup away? If you were put on this planet to do what you're supposed to do, and you don't do what you're supposed to do, that the Creator sent you to do, I'm not telling you what the Creator sent you to do. You have to follow that process. I'm not here to judge that. I'm here to, like the Lord said, to give life and life more abundantly. Because those people that are called to be entrepreneurs, those people that are, because not everybody's going to be called an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to deal with that. How do I know that? How do I know that? Because I had a conversation with a man who I respect, a man that I call my dad, who never wanted to do that. All he did was want to find a place where he can work to this day. All he wants to do is just work and have somebody pay him. He doesn't want to deal with taxes and the IRS and 501c3s and U.S. statute.
What I'm trying to say is like you're okay. So in you know, like all I can say is what I believe in my truth. Okay, but you're working on someone else's farm when you have your own farm.
Absolutely. And if you have the privilege,
you're working on someone's house
and the grace, if you have the privilege and the honor to work on somebody else's dream, you better make sure, I'm telling you from my personal experience, you better make sure that you're doing everything to the T and giving your all if you expect to reap anything else when it's your turn, if you are in the mindset that you're going to do the same thing. I have family that own ranches. I have family that still to this day does onions. They herd cattle, and they all work together. There is the owner of the property. They all live together. The women wake up at the same. I can take you to Michoacan right now, and those women wake up at the same time. Since my great grandmother, one of my aunts just passed away. Everybody went over there, and all those girls that came back from here that went over there because they had a big old thing because my aunt passed away. All those girls know that they better get their ass up at 4:30 in the morning and start getting food ready. And the men still do what they do every single day. That's what they do in the farm. Everybody works with everybody, and everybody better do what they're supposed to do because it affects everybody. It's the same thing in our communities. If food for less, Family Dollar.
You said earlier that 90% of the food that they put in Food for Less is shit for you anyway. So what you're telling me is like when a truck driver goes and delivers his trailer full of food, that only 10% of it is worth having. So everything else is inflated.
But see, that's a choice that you have. Am I going to grab you by your hair and tell you don't eat those Doritos, don't fucking smoke that weed, don't drink? That's not what God created us to do.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is just be a good example of what you're supposed to be doing. And you know, like I might be seem like I'm kicking it here, you know, but I'm definitely not just kicking it here. You know what I mean? You know, and that.
Oh, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. Who am I to tell you what God has put in your heart? That's the thing that a lot of pastors get wrong. You go into a church and a pastor will tell you, "We're going to clean you up, son. Don't worry about it." I'm looking at him like, "What? The fuck are you talking about?" "No, son, you can't wear that. You shouldn't wear that. Let me tell you why you should wear this suit when you come into church." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Do you know how many fucking sharks, how many snakes I know that wear suits?" So a suit doesn't make me any better. The fuck is wrong with you, pastor? Is this what you're teaching people, pastor? I'm not here to judge what you're doing. I don't know what God put in your heart, except for what you're telling me. No different than how am I going to put out what's in my vision, except by doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Listen, if I had a choice, which I do.
What were you going to say?
Choose to drop. I was saying, if I had a choice, which I do, say, "You know what, fuck this," and just sit around and be a bum like those people that I saw over at the store the other day.
So if you had a choice, so what is it that you really want to be doing?
If I had a choice, shit, What I would love to do, and what I'm gonna get to do again, sooner than later, Lord willing, as long as He grants me life, is I'm gonna go and do my high. I mean, I still do these things, but I'm not going to be on this side of the podium. I'm not going to be on this side. I'm not going to be in this quadrant.
If you had a choice, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. Is that what you're telling me?
If I had a choice to get up in the morning and have my land and have my animals and have everything that I used to have before this whole fucking process was forced upon me, absolutely, that's what I would be doing.
Okay, so I rest my case. You know, I stayed quiet just to listen to you for try to make as many points as you can, you know. But like you saying what you just said right now rests my case, and I didn't have to do anything. You understand? It's because you said it yourself. If I had a choice, in which I do, I wouldn't be doing this, whatever it is that you're doing. You know, like God bless you. You know. However, you know, people always pray and people always asking God to help them out or send them signs or do this and do that. But then, you know, when the Spirit starts speaking to people, they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm so scared. Oh, no, I can't do that. Oh, like, yeah, you know, like, I get it. You know, I get it. You know, it is tough out there. And you know, like, what I keep on going back to, it's like, you know, like, are you in the truck is there anybody in the truck with you?
Just me.
Alone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where's your backup?
Right.
Where's your backup?
My what?
Well, your backup. Where's your backup?
That's not what an employee does. An employee is an employee. If this is what somebody wants to be, this is what an employment looks like. This is what employment looks like. And so
self-indentured servitude.
No, I'm not. I'm showing what an employment what you should do if you decide that you want to be an employee. This is what an employee should do. He should do the best. He or she should do the best they can to serve whoever it is that they're working for and serve them the best they can. Now, this is the thing. If that's not your vision, and your vision is to aspire to be more, then this is what you need to do. And I'm showing people what they need to do in order to get to the next level. There is no hokey pokey here. It's real simple. It's a simple structure. You go from doing this, you do this the best that you can. You work hard because you are communicating with God and you're showing God that you're working for Him, and you know that He's got something better for you because that's what's in your heart. If that's what's in your heart, because that's not in everybody's heart. That's the problem with generalization. We generalize these things because we think that everybody thinks the same way we do, and it's not true. There are people that are designed that don't have any other vision but to do what they do. And I can't tell you that from my personal experience because that's not my personal experience. Since I can remember, I've always had the visions that I have, and I've always done the things that I've done. I've been out, twice now? 2 times, 3 times? I've proven it over and over again. I have 5 clinics in San Diego. I didn't have to go to the other 4 clinics.
Okay, so
I didn't have to go to any
bro,
clinic.
again. So you keep on proving points that I'm definitely trying to make, or I'm definitely trying to help you see.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, so you said you've done it how many times now? This
will probably be like the 3rd time. I haven't really,
paid no
no mind to it.
Okay, so have you ever thought that the system that you're trying to prove is designed to put you back in the same position over and over and over again, just like a hamster wheel?
No.
You've
No,
never
not at
thought
all.
that. You've never thought that.
No, because
Well, now that I say that now, what do you think?
So I know what you're saying, but see, the thing is that each time
Lean not on your own understanding.
I'm not leaning on my own understanding. That's the thing, because my own understanding got me to the point where I got to, but then I started doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, and that's what a lot of these corporations are doing.
Like what? Well, like what were you doing that you shouldn't have been doing?
I shouldn't have been lusting like I was for the things that I was lusting for, making that my idol. I was creating these things and I was full of myself, and at the same time,
could it be okay? So real quick, could it be that you know, we're just having a conversation, but at the same time, but like, could it be that as much as you're arguing, trying to prove your point again and again and again and again and again, could it be that, it's like, oh, I'm doing it again. Oh shit, I'm making my vision an idol again. It's like sometimes,
right.
Like, is it true or not true? And I'm asking you your truth, because I have my truth, but I'm asking you your truth.
Right.
Is it true or not true? I lost my train of thought, so continue.
Well, we were on that. We're on this whole thing that the hamster wheel, right?
Right.
And so nobody put me out. I put myself out. And the only thing was, in order for me to break those curses, those generational curses, is that I had to go through things that I didn't know what I was going through, because I didn't have the direction from anybody in my family on how to protect myself from myself as I obtain these assets, right? And so there is no excuse. There is no excuse for what happened. Those things happened because they needed to happen. I'm not bitter about it. I'm upset.
Could it be that God is trying to show you or trying to teach you? It's like, this is exactly what I don't want you doing. Could it be? Could it be? Could it be?
He was teaching me. He showed me what it was. See, when you spend the time being like truthful with yourself, like I spent the time, every single time that I failed, I realized that it was a learning lesson. It wasn't a failure. It was a learning lesson. We're afraid to learn. That's what the problem is with a lot of people. That a lot of people are afraid to learn. My dad tried to do a business one time in his whole entire life. He tried to go into business one time, and he got burned, and he decided, I don't want anything to do with this again, because of the fear of what happened. That's not me. I'm not afraid. I understand it. I see it. This is the cup that I have. It's no big deal.
I was reading this thing early. I was reading this thing earlier. It was called I saw this video, and they have this thing called it's called a Judas goat. And what happens is this Judas goat, he's in a flock with the sheep or whatever, and he has a couple of things that he does. One, he protects the sheep, and two, he kind of like leads the sheep, right? But then what happens is this Judas goat, he leads a flock of sheep, and he leads them right into the tractor trailer to the slaughterhouse. But before they lock up, before they take off with all these sheep, he hops out. Okay, and all these sheep are in that tractor trailer, on the chopping block basically, and then Judas sheep, when he goes back out, he they keep the Judah sheep around is because he keeps on doing the same thing over and over and over, for different flock after different flock after different flock. And then but it's what happens. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go a step further. There was this show, I can't remember what show it is or where it is now, but what happens is the farmers and herdsmen, they don't like wolves. Okay, so what they do is they tag a wolf. Okay, they put a collar around him, and that collar has a tracker. So what happens is the wolf will head back home with that collar and that tracker on his neck, right? And then back to the den. So then the hunter finds the den, kills all the wolves. Boom, 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 boom. They're all dead, right? So then they kill all of them except the one wolf with the tracker on. So that wolf, what he'll do then is he doesn't want to be alone. So what he'll go do is he'll go find some more wolves, right? So he'll find another pack of wolves, but once he finds that pack of wolves, he still has that tracker on his neck, and then there goes the hunter. Boom, 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 and all those wolves are dead, and it'll keep happening and happening and happening. It's like you hear these stories, and like it's. I'm sitting on my end, and I'm sitting, I see other things, and like all I can do is teach right now. You know what I mean? Why? It's because I don't have my troops. I keep on calling for my troops, but nobody wants to show up. Everybody wants to keep on doing their own thing, and that's okay. And I'm not talking about you, because I haven't had this specific conversation with anybody else, but like at the same time, you're not the only like guy or person that I've been marshaling. You know what I mean? And it just is what it is. And like I have to sit back and I have to patiently wait, and I have and part of patiently waiting is when you're teaching people is it's sometimes there's understanding that they don't get right away. You know what I mean? And it has to be explained different ways. You have to show different things. Like this guy Robert Kiyosaki that you love so much, and you think he's teaching you so much about this and so much about that. At the end of the day, he wants you to play his game. Okay, why? So he can use other people's money, which is not other people's money; it's your money. You know what I mean? He wants to use your money in your. And that's what the same thing is with working for a corporation. You're working for a dead man. It's like, okay, that's just another example. And it's like the spirit that I have, this teaching spirit that I have. He doesn't just say things willy-nilly just to say them. I'm not, like on my screen, I'm a little corner over there, like I'm up in the corner, a small person, and you're the big guy on the screen here, like I'm giving you the spotlight. But at the same time, with your spotlight, you keep on, and I'm not, like I'm not hammering you, but I'm definitely showing you what I see from my perspective. You know what I mean? And
right.
And it's like you said that you're getting forced to do the things that you're doing. So that means if you're getting forced to do it, then you don't have a choice. But you want to believe that you have a choice. You know what I mean? But you said, these are your words. You said that you're getting forced to do this, okay? Nobody's forcing you to play the rat race game. You said that you put yourself in the thing, and then you want to show somebody how to do it your way. But then you said that this is your third time getting out of it, and it's like, okay, so if that is the game that you want to play, okay, then you have to understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? You have to understand what it is that you're trying to teach somebody else. Okay? The game that you're playing was made by a banker. Okay? And he's not the right kind of banker. You know what I mean? I read his books too. You know what I mean? I read all these guys' books too.
Oh yeah. That's just a reference, though.
But that's the best one I can come up with, because that's the best. That's the guy that you like to talk about a lot. You know what I mean? But at the same time, this guy's talking about loot. Everybody's talking about loot, and they want to talk about dollars and bills and gold and stock markets and stuff like that. But in actuality, all that stuff is fictional, okay? But how many of these people do you see out there, you know, like training men to be men? You know what I mean? The only people that you see training men to be men are drill instructors. You know what I mean? Period. You know that, and I'm being serious. That's the only. Are warriors. Those are the only people that you see training men to be men, are warriors. Okay? Other than that, it's you know, it's I can't, you know, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know what I mean? Right. But where does the free gift of water of life come from? Jesus' word, the word. Right. You know what I mean? And then let's see what Jesus has to say about money. You know what I mean? On the Bible app, you know, and right now I'm being a salesman, but I'm being a salesman for God. You know what I mean? So right now you type in the word money in the search menu, and the first one, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. That's Hebrews 13:5. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue though. Go back to the search for money. Okay, and we're just gonna go through what you know the word says about money, and you know, plenty of them. Okay, so I just want to know for myself, and you know, like we're here, and this is a study. You know, no matter what you want to call it. I mean, we're studying together. You know, like this, we're putting good out there. Okay, for the love of money is a For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Okay, so let's go back to the search for money. Okay, so let's see. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. That's Timothy 6:9. Okay, so let's go back. You know, I'm going to read about 5 or 6 of these before we continue the conversation. Okay, Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. And those were Jesus's words, because it's written in red. See that? Those are Jesus's words. That's written in red.
Oh no, I know the scripture well.
Okay, so now let's. I said I was going to do about 5 or 6. So here's number 5. Okay. Let's see. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain. But put your hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. And then the last one.
Richly, right?
And then the last one is Hebrews 13:6. So we say with confidence, Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? I don't know what that has to do with money in this particular contents, but you know, the Spirit wanted me to read that, so I wrote it. So let's continue back with the conversation. You there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah. So I mean, like I wanted to put some actual scripture into the conversation here, and like uh, I'm just just saying it how I see it, and like I've seen it the same way for so long, and like again, like not only have I read the good book, over and over again, but I've also read, the other books that, and then I've also read, the Black's Law Dictionary and all these, it's, like I've done my research and, I've learned how to do it the lawful and correct way, and then again I'm screaming out from the top of my lungs, on any roof that I can make it on how to do this, and people don't even want to take the time out to see what I have to say or do or talk about, and like again, all I can do is just be marshaling the troops at this point, and all I can do is just say and point out what I'm hearing from those who are speaking with me, and you know and I'll tell you one thing, like having the spirit that I have, it's not easy. It's no, and God never told me it was gonna be easy. But having the spirit that I have is not easy, because there was this other video that I saw, and it made me, it got me emotional, because I feel like I've gone through this. On one side, there was a person, and she was crossing two bridges, and she got to the middle, and both bridges collapsed. All right, and Jesus is standing on the right side, and then there's a man. He didn't have horns or anything, but there's a man on the other side, and what the man does is Jesus and this man are working at the same time, right? So what the man does is he puts a bunch of money and possessions and things in the hole, right? And he fills up the hole, right, with all the stuff, and then Jesus at the same time he's putting like a wooden sturdy plank across the thing. So now at that point, this girl in the little video, she has a choice on where she wants to go, right? So Jesus is standing on one side, and the other guy's standing on the other side. So she starts walking to the other guy, because maybe she didn't know who Jesus was, but she starts walking to the other guy, and then midway through, the thing starts collapsing, and she has to go back to the middle of it again. And then the guy's like, bummer, and he looks like he's mad, and he storms off, right? And then Jesus is sitting there, like, as she's going across the other side, he's like, where are you going? And he's just like, he puts his hands on his head like this, and he's just like, oh my gosh, like, do you see I put a sturdy plank here? Like, so the girl's like, now the girl, she tried to cross that other side, now she's scared to move at all. So Jesus is like, okay. So he walks across the plank, and he's like, he puts his hand out, and she goes, okay. But Jesus didn't abandon her. Jesus didn't get like, he didn't get upset with her, but he went and he grabbed her by the hand and said, this is the way, this is the truth, this is the life, follow me. And she did, and that was the end, but the thing that Jesus had to see was like, he's like I have a better way. And then the girl still chose the other dude, okay? And then Jesus is like, I have a better way. Here, come across. No, I'm too scared. He's like, I'll come and get you then. And like,
that's
but that's how that's how I get many times. I'm just so emotional because I'm just like, well, like that hit me. That hit my heart. That hit my heart right there. And like, uh, and like I see it so many times. Like, and it's like, well, what else am I to do except just be patient and continue marshaling. And what is the word marshal? Okay, so okay, so in case you didn't know what the word marshal, and I've said it many times, and if anybody else is watching, like hey, what does marshal mean? Marshal, okay. Okay, so marshal as a noun is an officer of the highest rank in the armed forces of some countries, including France. Okay, or a federal or municipal law officer. Okay, that's in the U.S. Now, a marshal as a verb is arranging or assembling a group of people, especially soldiers, in order. Okay, general marshaled his troops. Okay, and heraldry combined coat of arms to indicate. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that one doesn't matter. But that's like the definition of marshal, just so you have it. So I mean, like, after hearing those things that I have to say, like, where does that put your heart? Like, I'm not saying I'm a certain person, or I'm a this, or I'm a that, but what I am saying is God has given me a spirit to speak. You know what I mean?
That's right. Absolutely.
And to be patient, and to be and like, and to be I wouldn't say politically correct, but speak with elegance. Like, I try not to, I'm gonna be who I am, and yeah, I cuss and say this, that, and the other. When that spirit is fired up enough to be able to do that, but that takes a lot for me to get like that. You know what I mean? And so I like, again, these are just my truths. And this is a great conversation, because without this conversation, people have these thoughts. You know what I mean? People think, yes. A lot of people think just like you, but I know, there's not very many people that think like me, and that's the truth. Well, that's the truth that I know. You know what I mean? So I can't speak for anything other than I don't know. I only know what I can prove. Okay, I only know what I really, really know.
You only know what you know,
and I only know what I can prove. Okay, and I have proof of my faith. You know what I mean? Right. I have proof of my faith. So and and this is not just a one-off conversation. You know what I mean? This is not the first time you've heard me saying this stuff like that. And I wonder, I was like, well, like, how do people really see me? And like, what? Okay, so then I go to, let's say, my Facebook, right? So I look and I go to my picture, and I go to my profile, and I look at my friends and stuff like that, and I scroll through what I put up. I won't put up what I put up 3 hours ago, because that doesn't really count. So, but what I put up 3 hours ago. But I'm not going to say what I put up 3 hours ago to the people in this video, because that doesn't matter, because that was only 3 hours ago. But if we go back to February 23rd, which is a couple of weeks ago, like, I see what I be putting up. It's like, found a piece of history in an old box, and I'm sure you saw what that one was. Another one is like, protein packed and it's good for the soul. It's like, yeah, I had to buy these products, but I'm teaching, like, cooking, and is cooking something we're really supposed to know? We can figure that out, but it's not going to be figured out alone. You understand? Like, Like if you were to tell me, you know, like, hey, you know, like we're not even supposed to be eating, you know, eating's against, you know, like this, that, or the other, or biologically, we can actually live without eating and grow, you know, big without eating, or maybe the water, you know, I mean, these are crazy abstract thoughts, you know, like maybe the water is what's inhibiting our growth, maybe the water is what's slowing us down or making our muscles this or that or the other. And it could be for many reasons. It could be for the actual H2O itself, or it could be for what's in the H2O, you know, or again, like these recipes, you know, that we're talking about. It could be, you know, maybe we're not even supposed to eat. And, you know, maybe that's me showing, you know, like maybe I'm the Judas goat, you know, about food and stuff like that. However, I look the way I do. And I'm cut, I'm muscular, you know, I look young, you know, like my hair is shiny and long, and you know, like I mean, you can hear the
And
way
you're
I
vibrant.
you can hear
And
the
you're
way I
vibrant.
you can hear the way I speak, you know, like I'm articulate, you know, like I can understand the way many other people think, and I can also speak on their level if I need to, you know what I mean?
Right.
And okay, so that's that. You know, the next post that I had was from January 10th, and I'm just going down of like what do I have to offer? You know, like who am I really? Like what do I put out? I said, okay, so life is about your body. The better you take care of yourself, the better your life will be. Put good things into your body: good food, water, music, visions. Connect with people who care about themselves. If you have a good heart and a body that needs work, this means that there is a need for balance. Keep more of your energy for yourself, and you will find more balance in your life. You only knows how to heal yourself. Give yourself a chance and focus from within. Okay, so that's just something that I put out, and that, you know, it was a random thing, but I wrote that. Those were my words. I wrote that, but at the same
Right.
time, it wasn't me. It was the spirit that I have. You know, you understand, and I give it to the Most High. I give it to the Creator. You know, this is not, and I say it. I just said it. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not taking credit for this. I'm giving it to the Spirit. I'm giving the credit to the Spirit, and I'm saying that now so everybody knows that I wrote that, but no, the Spirit wrote that through me. You know what I mean? And I'm okay giving that away. You know what I mean? Because that Spirit was through me. I'm okay with giving that away. You know what I mean? Okay, so we go down a little bit, and I'm showing people the doorstep from where I live, which is 4 blocks from the beach, and I have 2 burgers there. I ate them both because nobody was there with me. You understand? Um, and it says we all start from somewhere. Okay, and I go on to January 4th. You know, and that was on January 6th. And I go to January 4th. It says I've got a good start. However, basketball is a team sport. Who's with me? Okay. Um, Friends and family, I'm building a professional basketball organization here in San Diego. I want to offer my direct network the first opportunity to contribute, invest, and contract. Meeting openings: general manager, marketing director, sales manager, scouts, physical training director, head coach, athletes. Compensation will be discussed during interview. A direct message me for details. Regard, Eric. You know how many people messaged me for that? Not one.
How many?
Not one. Not
Yeah,
one.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that post.
Okay, and then on December 27th, I posted something from my native heritage. You know, just some picture of these Kachina dolls. You know what I mean? And each one of them each one of them is a spirit in its own. And just like there's angels, these are they're Native American angels. These are Kachinas. You know what I mean? These Kachinas, these angels, they come to people. These are spirits, and they speak through people. And you know who put these Kachinas and these angels in here? It's the Creator, the Most High. Okay, so that's why, you know, like, what are they called? Sun face. And what does he do? He's there for good weather. Eagle, he's there for freedom and power. The hoop dancer, health and welfare. Okay, who else we got? We got Mudhead. He's the announcer and clown. We got Buffalo, the provider and the protector. We got Clown for amusement. We got the bear to heal the sick, and we got the wolf as the great hunter. You know, okay, so And then I have another one from December 26th, and all it says is "Stay ready." Okay, and I have myself pictured in there. Okay, yoked out, and buffed out, and letting people know that I am ready. That's the way I look right now. You know what I mean? It's like I don't have to get there because I'm already am there. You understand? Okay. Now, and I put some stuff about the life of Geronimo up there, and he was a Chiricahua Apache from the he went to war. Now these books you have, and I'm just speaking, like in these books, when they say heavy fighting and heavy this and heavy that, could it be that there's a different meaning from what they actually saying? When they say heavy fighting and people killed and this and that and the other, they could be talking about heavy fighting and man versus woman, and like since there's a need for balance and it's falling towards one side or the other, it could be man versus, it could be, yeah, that they're actually out there killing people, but at the same time, do you really know that? Do you really know that? No, it's a book, right? Like, as far as I know, it's just entertainment. You know what I mean? And then I have something about my last name, okay, and the flag. My last name is Castro, as far as I know. You know what I mean? And I only know what I've been taught, what people have told me. But my last name is Castro. What does Castro mean? It comes from the Latin word or Spanish word from Spain. It means castle or fortress. Okay, and these are just facts, and so I'm fact finding. And then I have another one of me working out. What am I doing? I'm hitting the heavy bag. You know what I mean? And then what's another one that I'm doing? I'm out there playing basketball, for 12, for 12 minutes. I just have me shooting hoops. Another one is me yoked out again, And then I have some of my art that I share with people. And then, I've asked people to come forward because I want to cast a video, and when I mean to cast a video, I have a story written, you know what I mean? Just like these people are putting up their bullshit on social media and TV and Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff, and we keep on talking about like all the bullshit that we don't want to be seeing. Like, I've been asking people to come, like where are my troops at? Where are my people? You know what I mean? Like I want to make a good movie. I want to shoot. You know what I mean? So I want to create a movie.
That's a great question.
And I want to create a movie. Yeah, like I want to create a movie, and I want to do a video shoot, and I want to put my art out there because I know in my heart that the stuff that I put out there is gonna be quality stuff that a family can go and see, or a pair of adults can go and see, like a different version of, or a different narrative of a real true story. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I look at that and it's not about the likes. Okay, it's not about the likes, and I'm not making it about the likes, but and it's not about the comments or the shares, because I'm not making it about the comments or the shares. But what I am making it about, it's like I'm asking people, like, where you at? Where you at? Like, I can't do this on my own. Like I can't shoot this video on my own. I need actors. I need people to play the parts. I need this, that, and the other. But where is everybody? You know what I mean? Like, I have a there's plenty of parts, and I have one there for you. But and that part, like, I have a place to shoot it at in that house. You know what I mean? And there, like, it's all set up. It's like, and another one, I'm out there hooping. Like with some hoopers, some real hoopers. You know what I mean? Not these fake ass hoopers on TV. That how do we really know that these guys are as tall as they say they are? Or if it's just they make it look like an illusion, and maybe these rims aren't really as high as they are that real hoopers play on. You know what I mean? Like, How do we know that all those people in the stand, because they've already proved that they can put, you know, people in stands on a screen. You know what I mean? So it's like, so people are getting fooled, and then you hear the stuff on TV where these athletes are like, yeah, you know, I had a part to play, and this and you know, like in my part, you know, what they paid me to do, these big contracts, they said that I got hurt, blah 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 blah. You know, oh, that sucks, you know. And then I have a little bit of flow out there, you know, of my lyrics and how my mind, you know, thinks and stuff like that, you know. And I show my property, you know, on here, and I show more of my art, and you know, like, but that's who I am, you know. Like I can sit there and say like, well, okay, so that's wholesome stuff. That's quality work. You know what I mean? Like I'm not out there. I don't take steroids. You know, all that stuff that I got was all natural. I don't drink. You know what I mean? I don't hit the pipe. Smoke a little weed, I'll say that, you know, but I'm just being truthful. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and call myself this, that, or the other, or act like I'm you know, like, oh, super high and mighty, because, you know, like, I know what that stuff does for me, but right now I'm not, because, you know, like, it's not serving me right now, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But like, these are facts, man. Like I said, you know, I don't drink. You know, like I'll have a drink here now and then, you know, but once every couple of months, or 6 months, or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, like when I'm saying, when I have things that I have, like I got those things. When I'm saying I'm this, that, or the other, it's because I got them. You know, I've done it. You know what I mean? Like, it's working, you know, and it's not through my grace, or it's not through my understanding, because I don't understand shit. You know, like, what I mean by that is, like, when God's telling me to say this or say that, or do this or do that, or tell somebody this or tell somebody that, I don't understand why, but I got to do it because, you know, that's what He's telling me to do. So, but that's my faith. You know what I mean? That's what God's leading me to do, and He's leading me to tell people, you know, like, there is a better way, and you do have a choice. But if you're not, you know, heeding what the Spirit has to say, it's not me, it's not this flesh and blood, because, like I said, I don't understand. But if you're not heeding what the Spirit is telling you, you wouldn't be hearing this voice if the Spirit didn't want you to hear this voice. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So why? Yes. And we can prove that through these connections that we're having. You know, like, you know, like if he didn't want me to hear it, it'd like have static here and there and blah 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 blah. But so far, you know, other than the picture, I haven't had any static from your end or my end. So obviously, you know, God does want this conversation to happen. You understand? So it's like, I use logic, and I use faith, and I use the Most High, the Creator, as you know, as my platform, okay? And I use Jesus, right, as the example. Jesus wasn't afraid to tell people when they were wrong, when he thought that they were wrong. You know what I mean? And he wasn't afraid to point things out in his way when those things were happening. You know, I mean, like, there's plenty of scripture that goes through that. You know what I mean? And, you know, let's start with Mark. Okay. And listen, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Some fell along rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no root. Other seeds fell among thorns, which they grew up and choked the plants, so they did not bear grain. And some other seed fell on good soil. It came up and grew and produced a crop. Some multiplying 30, some multiplying 60, and some 100 times. Then Jesus said, Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. And he goes on, but I mean, that's, like, just, it's an easy example of everything that we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, whoever has ears, let them hear, and it's like.
And that's the important part. People, everybody who listens to anybody needs to listen and then seek what the Bible tells us. That's what it comes down to, because God's promise is real. At the end of the day, God's promise is real. And it's not that difficult, but it is difficult when we've been
programmed.
We've been programmed in so many different ways, because we must understand that 3/4 of the population in heaven, if we say heaven on earth, 3/4 of the population was persuaded to turn its back on God's kingdom, fooled into believing that there was a better way than creation itself. And so everybody must decide for themselves. And that will be something that at the end of the day, we will see it in the fruits of your labor. And at the end of the day, when that judgment comes between you and the Lord, that's what's going to determine whatever it is that's going to happen with whoever you are next. And with so many people and so many teachings and so many everything, Steve Harvey was really the only one who I heard that said it the best in my opinion. He was like, everything comes from the Bible. And I can say I've been saying that since the beginning. But it's the truth. Every book that's written, everything that we have today, everything that people fight against, it's been written. Nothing is new today. God is the same as he was from creation until the end of our time. We don't know when time will end, but we know that our time is short. But it's the longest thing that we're ever going to live. And so we decide and we choose to live according to whatever that is that we're following. And it'll show in the fruits of your labor. Just like we have corporations right now that have been created, people with dreams, people with ideas. I can't see. Okay. I'm going through the inspection, and she didn't bother to open the window because I can't see inside the window. So there's people who have used the wealth that they've been given through whatever it is that they did, however they did it, good, bad, and have continued to use that as a power source to continue to doing the things that they're doing. And a lot of people are doing a lot of bad shit. As it is their right to be able to do, because Scripture tells us, it teaches us that who are we to tell the man with the coin how to use his coin? When it talked about the parable of the coins. And so it's up to us. We decide what path and how we're going to take that. Now, as far as following a path of insanity, they say that when we do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, it's considered the path to insanity. Because I've heard that over and over again. And so then, if what we're doing is if what we're doing or what we have done so far is producing the same results, then what path are we on, right? You were saying it earlier, with what, me doing the things that I've been doing, right? And I like to use myself as an example in everything, because what other example is there besides me? I mean, there's you and there's other people, but as far as my experience, I can only speak on what have I experienced up to this point in my life. I've gone through a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of things, but I didn't know that there was a law that restricts how high you can build a building, even if you have all the money in the world to build it. There's a law. There are laws in place in certain counties and certain states that restrict how high you can build. And so I didn't know that. Is it relevant to me? Well, I'm not building skyscrapers. But it's relevant to those people that had to learn that process because they built skyscrapers. So we don't know what we don't know. It's no different than adding certain ingredients to food, like you're talking about as far as cooking and, what ingredients do we add? How should we eat? Those things. Do I know if I'm eating healthy? Am I eating healthy?
Are we supposed to even eat at all?
I mean, and so there are some people that claim that they don't need to, but, I don't know. That's not something.
Mine was a question.
That was the question that and I've seen it. I've seen it. I've heard, when I was doing these sweat lodges with the Kumeyaay and those people on that side of the planet, because my dad has always been involved in something, and we have as a family have always been involved in doing something, because temazcales have been in our tradition since that we couldn't write. Our people didn't write. They just spoke and they taught by speaking and passing it on to the next generation.
Mezcal.
And so
Mezcales.
Mezcal.
People of the mezcal.
Mezcales.
Mescaleros.
Temazcales.
Mescaleros.
It was some. So yeah.
Who are they?
Basically, sweat lodges. I mean, those people are, whoever those people were. But the whole thing is that they're sweat lodges, and so when we would go into the sweat lodges, some tribes like the Kumeyaay, they perform that same ritual, and you need to look up what ritual means because there's a meaning behind that. But they would perform that ritual, and they used peyote to get to elevate, according to them, to a different spiritual realm, right? And so there's just a lot of different things that are out there, and it's up to us when we look at ourselves in the mirror to, like you're saying, I can only listen to what God is telling me. God isn't going to tell you to tell me something that, like, is a secret. He's going to tell me what he needs to tell me. He's not going to keep the secret from me and go through you to tell me, because he can tell me. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing that with a lot of pastors, they what's it called? They listen to what God is telling them, and then they mistakenly say, this is what God is telling me to tell you. I'm not telling you that's what you're doing. I'm saying this has been my experience with many churches and many people that have been teaching, that started to teach sooner than they should have, right? And I say that because I followed that rabbit hole for a long time. People that I thought were like, these people knew what's up. And then I get to the point where I'm at in my life, and I realize a lot of these people didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And how I know that, because I believed what they were saying, and I did what they said was the right thing to do, because I wasn't mature enough in my own spirituality to connect with God, because they didn't teach us that. They wanted to teach us control in the religious life. That's what Jesus was talking about. That's why they did what they did to him. He's like, no. That's not what, you guys are tripping. He's like, just like David went through the wheat field on a Sabbath, and he hit that grain, just like David went into the most holiest of places, and him and his people ate the bread of the tabernacle. You're going to sit here, and you religious people are going to persecute and hang us because we're hungry? Everybody gets hungry. And everybody has the right to eat. And we will all eat of what we reap. That's the bottom line. I am eating right now from those seeds that I sowed. I sowed a lot of good seeds. A lot. I've done a lot of things that have been of benefit for a lot of people, not just for me. But I have also done a lot of shit that I shouldn't have been doing, and the only way that I could cleanse myself of that was to go through the things that I went to, and now I can come back into the kingdom with a better frame of mind, so that I can tell others my experience, and those people, whoever they are, will be able to make those choices for themselves, versus having some dictator dictating the way they should think. Read the Bible. I suggest that you read the Bible and you study for yourself. Ask God for understanding for yourself, and then do accordingly. If God is telling you to go murder that person, is that really God?
Well, let's look in the scripture, shall we?
Sure.
Let's find.
Well, it goes back to the commandments. I mean, it's as easy as that. I'll not murder. It's a commandment.
But okay, so there's a difference between murder and going to war, by the way. Okay. Therefore, okay, James 1:21. Therefore, get rid of all the moral filth and evil that is so prevalent and humbly accepted, the world planted in you, which can save you. James 1:21. Okay, and that's in the New Testament. Now, you want to go to the Old Testament, and people are supposed to say, oh, you're supposed to live by this testament or that testament. It's like, Charlie,
Oh, the Old Testament was bloody.
Tell me about it, bro. One of my favorite verses is I'm trying to find it. It's Exodus 2. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Old Testament was blood. The Old Testament was under the law, and everybody was persecuted under the law. That's why that's why they did what they did. There was no sacrifice enough. That's why our people got dealt with the way they got dealt with, because we were sacrificing human beings at one point.
And do you ever think when they're talking about sacrificing human beings, could that be your seed that you're busting in your sock?
The way what?
When you're saying sacrificing human beings, could that be the seed that you're busting out in your sock? Or
started to cut up a little. I'm going up this hill, and it started to like cut off a little bit.
Right. It's probably because what I was saying wasn't relevant. That's probably what it was. But it's just there's so many different things that we could interpret or put it a certain way. I mean, for instance, Jacob went to war and killed people, like David, was straight up warrior. I mean, he killed Goliath, and like he did that. He really did that. But Jacob had backup, though. You know what I mean? Or sorry, David had backup. Well, so did Jacob. He had a tribe. None of these people. Well, Moses killed on his own, but then Moses went and ran off for 40 years before he came back. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe because he didn't have any backup for that time. It's like it's that's what we're not. The man or the lie is that we should be out there busting our hump all on our own every day, but you're in the truck, you know what I mean? And when I'm calling people, to let's gather, when they don't come, that means I'm alone. You know what I mean? So it's like, so what do I do? Is I patiently wait, and that's all I can do, and it just is what it is, and it's like, well, okay, I'll patiently wait, maybe God's working behind my back every time I think that I'm over here doing something all alone and I don't have anybody watching or He could have me on some news channel right now, this whole entire conversation and everything I had to say to you, speaking straight from the heart, and people around the world could have been watching the whole thing, and I wouldn't even know any different. You know what I mean? But that's the way God works, or that's the way God works in my mind. That's my truth. You know what I mean? And but that's also a spirit. Like the spirit has me thinking that because God is telling me, He's like, hey, bro, you're not alone. You're not alone. And I'll tell you, what people, what maybe not everybody knows, it's like when I'm alone, there's 22 other veterans that were feeling just as alone as I was, yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before and the day before. You understand? Because when we were in the military, you know, when I was in public service, when I was doing all that stuff, I was never alone. I always had my team. I always had my backup. You know what I mean? And we get put into civilian life, and we're like, whoa. Or I shouldn't say we get put into civilian life. We go back to shepherd civilians as veterans, and we're just like, fuck, I can't handle this. You know what I mean? Because you know it's because the civilians they don't understand. You know, they don't understand camaraderie. You know what I mean? Because they understand the corporate ladder, and you know it's corpse ladder. You know, a bunch of dead people cutting each other's throats. You know, to make a buck. You know what I mean? But then what's happening? It's like the then we have a commander in chief, you know, in Biden who's doing whatever he's doing, and you know, like you know, it's like that's who you guys want to follow? Really? No, not really. It's been hijacked. You guys can't see that? And then the guys that are telling you guys to get your shit together, you know, no. You guys want to go and do your own damn thing. It's like, enough's enough. Come home. You know what I mean? It's like, we've had our own experience with this when I had to go get you from down under. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not the first time. You know what I mean? Like, but, you know, it is what it is right now. Shit, for all I know, you could be on your way down to SD right now. I don't know. But it's where we find ourselves. You got what I mean?
I've been catching like, oh shit, come on, man. last thing you want to do is pull up right in front of a semi that's going 65 miles an hour, like this guy just did. I can't stop like he would like me to, and I almost took him out. It's like it's just people just do it. And it's not that he's doing it or she is doing it on purpose. They're just ignorant. As it goes back to ignorance. The Lord said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." You know, and at the end of the day, that's what I've realized is that most people just they're ignorant, and because of their fear and their ignorance, they act and do the things that they do. They act on and do the things that they do, and it's like when we went through the pandemic. You know, I didn't wear a mask. It's not. I was, you know, I wasn't allowed to go into stores. They called the police on me. They called security on me. They called me a murderer. They said all kinds of shit to me. But I wasn't on their same wavelength. They didn't understand what I was on. And of course, I was susceptible to the same disease that everybody else was susceptible to. But thank God nothing happened to me. Because that's not my belief. That's not my understanding. I'm not going to go sit there and be crazy about it and go lick a shopping cart that someone else touched to prove my point. That's like what the Lord was talking about. And I had this point the other day when the devil took the Lord to the mountain and tried to get him to commit suicide. Like I just asked earlier, is that really God telling us to do something like that?
Would you want that? Do people want that for the J-Man? You know, or do they want that for anybody? No. That's the spirit of deceit. Yeah, but look who's going through that.
God didn't allow.
Jesus went through that on his own. You know what I mean? Jesus went through that on his own.
God didn't allow You know, you were like, what are we? We're like there's how many sperm they say? We're like a billion sperm or million sperm. I don't know. Don't quote me on the number.
Yeah.
But out of the million sperm, we're the one that made it. We're the ones that penetrated the uterus and came to life. Also, we can go throw ourselves in front of a truck or throw ourselves over a bridge or off a mountain. It's the spirit of the sea. How many people haven't survived that idea that have said that in the moment they knew that they made a mistake? But so many people don't come back from it.
Well, I mean, 22 veterans a day.
So we,
you know, like, I mean, that's what they say. You know, I hope it's changed, and I hope it's gone down, or I hope it's not really what I think it is. You know, but like 22 veterans a day, bro. You know,
there was a spirit that.
Why? It's because they feel that they're on their own. And then when they ask for help, you know, like nobody shows up for them. You know, like I've lost a friend to it, so I know how it feels. I wept for him. You know what I mean? It sucks. I wish I was there for him, and I thought I could have done better, and I thought I could have done more, and I could have. I know I could have, but I wasn't there for him. You know what I mean? So, and that still breaks my heart. That still breaks my heart to this day. You know, and Blake will live on in my memory, and they're just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And that sucks. But that's for me. I'm made to believe that's a reality. You know what I mean? And I had to feel his pain. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, like people need to wake up and understand that, like, when, you know, the spirit is talking through me, and you wouldn't hear my voice if it wasn't talking through me, that enough is enough. Come freaking home. You know what I mean? Like, this time there is a home to come back to. You know what I mean? This time there's a backyard full of fresh ground that needs to be tilled and worked, and there's people in the community that need to take their money out of their banks and find a more secure place to put them, and people to go to court for them if they need to, as an insurance agent or this, that, or the other. You know, instead of putting all their money, giving all their money to an ATM machine or to the AI machine. You know, like that's what you're doing, dude. You're working for AI right now. How do you know that the CEO isn't just a banker's code? You understand now?
I was teaching my daughter the other day. I said, you know whose truck this is? And she's like, yours? And I said, no, this isn't our truck. I can't take this truck to the Bahamas because I want to. It's not our truck. This is somebody else's truck. And I asked her, I said, you know whose dream this is? And she's like, no. And I said, this is somebody else's dream. Do you know who the owners of this company that I work for are? And she's like, no. And I said, do you think that the owners of this company are working on a Saturday like you are here with me right now? She's like, I don't know. And I said, no, they're not. And she said, but why not? And I said, well, because they handled their business in order to be able to do the things that they're doing now. Just like we are handling, and I'm handling our business now, so that way when you grow up, you don't have to worry about this part. You're going to be taught something totally different. You're being taught now, I told her. You just don't see it yet. And then I opened up my laptop and I showed her the businesses that we're building, and I showed her what we're invested in and why we're invested in. And so it's a transfer of information.
Okay, so now,
right? And so
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. My bad.
Oh, so it's a transfer of information. A lot of people grow up in the I grew up. When I was growing up, it wasn't until I was 18 that a friend of mine, Damien, put me on to the idea of being financially free. My idea up until I was 18 of financial freedom came from my dad. My dad's like, you got to get up early in the morning. We've heard this over and over again. You got to get up early in the morning. He's like, I'm going to work so you can go to school and learn and have an education so you can get a better job and get a better paying job. When in fact, if I had followed that path, he was still getting paid better than I was as far as a transfer of money for ideas. He was still getting paid better than I was had I went to school and got a bachelor's degree, as an example, because I had the opportunity to have family that had friends that already had bachelor's degree that were still working at the Lucky's, because we had Lucky's in San Diego, working at grocery stores and doing those things because there wasn't anywhere for them to make the supposed $100,000 a year. There was all these ideas. So it wasn't until I was 18 that I came across. That's why I always say, you got to give respect to those people that taught us what the system was, because how would I ever have known? I was taught to be an employee by another employee. That's what was passed on to me. And I was happily doing that because I thought, okay, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go up the totem pole. I'm going to, make my money and buy my house and get my weekends off. I'm going to work 10 years to be able to earn my weekends off. That was the mindset that was taught to me. So I'm not the only one that was taught this mindset. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people were taught the same mindset that I was taught, was given the same information. The difference is, and I talk about this all the time, the difference is, like you said, there are those of us who have been called to other things. And so because I sought those things out, I have found out other things. It's not for everybody. Everybody is promised the kingdom of God. Everybody is promised the kingdom of God. But not every position in life is going to be for everybody if they don't seek that position out. And if they're not seeking that position out, then that's between them and God. I'm not here to judge that. I used to be like, man, what? You're dumb for doing. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't do that no more because they're not dumb. Nobody's dumb. It's ignorance. It's the lack of information. And so my daughter is blessed to be able to see this aspect of it because, like Chris Rock was saying the other day, my kids are spoiled. My black girls went to a high-end school. Their field trip was to Costa Rica. And he talks about how in the Bronx, his field trip was from church, and they all had to pitch in to be able to go to Disneyland because of the income that they had, the wealth that they had. And the wealth that they had was attributed to the knowledge that they had. The Bible talks about it. You said it earlier, going to Scripture. You know, there's abundance, and abundance there's and overflowing. The Bible is filled. The Bible, the scriptures are filled. God has given us the abundance. If we look at what Exodus means to be delivered from. We come out of our slave mentality that was forced upon us. So a lot of people are still dealing with that reality. They don't understand it because we may understand it because we're now out of that realm. It's like the Matrix, right? Like Neo. It's like, the Morpheus. We're a group of disciples that have been pulled out of that, and now we're doing what we're doing. We're like the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul wasn't a part of the disciples. He was a persecutor of Christian beliefs. No different than Matthew the tax man. No different than a lot of these guys. Luke was a physician. So all these people had different ideologies, and they all came to the same spirit, just like you, just like me. What does it say? Now he talks here. This is. We have to understand that this was written because of the people of the time in that area. But the kingdom of God is for everybody. But this is specifically speaking to the children of Israel. They were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. And the land was filled with them. But then it goes back to the same thing. Like what I was telling you as far as like my life. My life was filled. I had everything, and I've had everything I ever wanted to this point. And everything that I've ever wanted, I've achieved. I've had it because when you seek it, you will find it. But I wasn't like the son, like the prodigal son. When something's given you, you've had this conversation with me before. Had you been given an X amount of freedom too soon, you wouldn't be here right now because you would have killed yourself on drugs. You would have killed yourself on alcohol. You would have done all these things in that time. But you went through that time to be able to speak about that. That's what we do. We speak of nonsense that we were in. And we're just passing on information. And those
Boom. All right, folks, until next time. That was pretty dope. Boom skis.